What's going on, everybody? It's Kyle from No Blood No Foul. So, if you haven't noticed, we haven't really uploaded for a while, and we're sort of on a hiatus right now. But as we've been on hiatus, the Knicks are still playing, so I've had a lot of thoughts about them that I wanted to get out there. And since we're not really making videos right now, I thought I could try something new. Maybe do a pre-recorded video of me just, laying out some thoughts. I'm going to be playing some 2K footage in the background of me. Funnily enough, this is actually the first time I've played 2K on my PlayStation 5, and the first time I played 2K period in several months, so I'm a bit rusty, so please forgive that. And also, because it's me, I forgot that the last game we played was against the Cavs, not the Clippers. I thought it was the Clippers, but so the gameplay is against the Clippers. But oh well, live and learn. So I don't know what I'm going to call this. I don't know if it's going to be a series, but I just want to get something out there. So I know that a lot of us out there are feeling pretty disappointed with how the season has gone, right? Because we bring in all these guys, they're supposed to lift the offense, and they really haven't done it. And I know a big part of the reason why is because Derrick Rose has been out for weeks at this point. But I just wanted to talk about the state of the Knicks. So let's start off on the positive side, right? RJ Barrett has gotten a lot better since about half the season ago, right? His start of the year, really good, first 9 games, averaging 20 a night, really good efficiency, and then he just absolutely tanked for the next 13 games this year. About the entire month of November, he just absolutely sucked. But then he sort of bounced back since then, and people talk about the last 10, 11 games. I extended back 19 games to that 32-point game against the Spurs. If you look from then on, he's been pretty solid for us, averaging about 20 a night, about 54% true shooting, which isn't amazing. That's not even league average, but I will take it. So the good thing from him is we're starting to see him play a little bit more like last year. Even better than last year, I would say, because he's starting to drive a lot more, finish around the rim. And when you look at his numbers, he's actually shooting 39% on catch and shoot threes this year. The reason why his overall three-point shooting is low is because he's taking a lot more pull-up threes, but he's only shooting like 23% on. So last year, 41% on catch and shoot, down to 39% this year. That's an acceptable drop-off, I'll take that. Then, when you just watch him play, the difference in how he finishes around the rim is sort of night and day. Because you watch him, and he's doing all sorts of crafty layups now. Sometimes he tries and they don't work, but that's whatever. I'd rather see him try and fail than not try at all. So he's been a really positive for us the past, over a month at this point. So I really like that. On the negative side, Julius Randle just continues to disappoint again and again and again. And I know Moo is out there somewhere. Maybe he's not watching this, but he's out there somewhere saying that, it's our fault for wanting Julius to be LeBron, and he's not. And yeah, he's not LeBron. But the problem with Julius, as I see it, is that he's not trying to be LeBron, he's trying to be Carmelo. What I mean by that is, you watch the shots he takes, what he's doing. He's clearly, doing that Melo thing, pull-up jumpers, post-up fadeaways and all that, and it's just not working because he can't hit those jumpers at a consistent enough rate. So the problem with Julius is he kind of needs to take a step back, and I'm going to say this is going to sound a bit demeaning to him, but more of a Draymond Green type role, where his primary focus should be, setting hard screens, rolling to the rim, passing out a short roll, and playing defense. If he does that, maybe he won't be an all-star. He won't be the number one guy in offense, but that would be his ideal role, I think. The problem being, obviously, that you kind of need to have that number one guy on offense for him to get back into that role. And we really don't. RJ is doing his best impression, but like I said, he's not there yet. He's showing flashes, but he's not there yet. And just talking about the last game against the Cavs, just that. Listen, I know he gave RJ the ball on that missed three-pointer. Not the last shot, the second last shot we had. He gave RJ the ball with just enough time to make a drive, and RJ didn't. But that's kind of the problem I have with Randall, is you just see him. He just takes so long getting into the set that there's really nothing you can do if it doesn't go the way you want. And that's constant with him. That's all game. I don't think he's our closer in the sense that he should not be the one handling the ball when the clock's ticking down. He just can't do it. And then just the last shot, I don't know if I put all the blame on him for that fadeaway three-pointer. I don't know how far back he was from the three-point line. That was just a disgusting shot. But I don't know if it's on him or if it's on Alec Burks for not passing it to someone in a better position. I think it's on both of them. And it also falls on Tips for not drawing up a better play or not having a better play ready. So I think that's on all of them. I don't put that entirely on Randall. But that is what it is. We lost the game, not just because of that missed three-pointer or him dribbling out the clock on the previous possession. It's a number of factors. When you lose a game by 2 points, you can point to any number of factors. And I would say also, if RJ makes 70% of his free throws, that's two more points. That is enough to tie us the game. So it's everybody in a close game like that. I know Julius is going to get a lot of flack for, the bad turnaround shot, and he's kind of bringing it on himself too, because the thumbs down, that's just not a good look for Julius. I understand perfectly well. If people are directing hate at his family, at his wife, at his son, you don't do that. Keep it professional. Keep it between the player and the fans. Don't bring the family into this. Just don't. With that being said, if you play poorly, expect to get booed, especially if you set the standard last year of what you can do. So to me, I think booing Julius is just something that should be expected. I know he doesn't like it. He would rather get cheers, but I don't like watching him play bad. I would rather watch him play well. So we're kind of at an impasse here. Other than that, another kind of low point is Emmanuel Quickly has been super inconsistent this year. I really hope for him to take a step up in that regard. He's shown more flashes of point guard ability, the ability to break down the defense, drive in, and create shots for others, but it's still not consistent yet. And I know the hip thing to do is to gang up on him because of that, but I think, he's still showing the flashes of what he can do. Yeah, maybe he's not consistent yet, but give him some time. But then on a positive note, if you guys remember our draft night special, I was not the biggest fan of Quentin Grimes selecting him. I don't know if you remember that because my microphone was off for a lot of the night, so and I didn't realize, so that one's on me. But I was not a big fan of Quentin Grimes coming out. I just thought it was very meh overall. I thought that our biggest need was, and it still is, that shot creation ability, which he just does not have at this point. Let's be honest. He is almost as pure of a 3-and-D shooter as you can get. But the good news is for him, he is a very good 3-and-D shooter, 3-and-D guy. He's starting to hit his three-pointers. He's up to 38-39% on the season. And when you just watch him play defense, he is clearly very good. Now, in my mind, how I view things are, there are different types of defenders. There are guys that are locked in, who I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to stick you on the best player on the other team, and you're going to lock him down. And then there are guys who are just, solid. They're not going to get steals. They're not going to get a whole ton of defense of steals or blocks or whatever. I think Quentin Grimes fits more into that second group, where he's just going to be solid, solid man defender. He's going to know where to be, but he's not going to have that extra impact I guess, Kawhi or like a Chris Middleton. He's not really going to get all the steals and everything. But that's not a bad thing. I think a good example of that second type of defender I'm talking about is someone like Alonzo Ball, who's going to be very good in man, but he's not going to be a lockdown type guy. So I like Quentin Grimes. He's a very good 3-and-D prospect. I know if you go back to high school and college, especially his early years back at Kansas, he showed that he was a 3-level scorer. He would put the ball in his hands and he would create shots. I don't really think he's shown that he can do that at the NBA level or even in Summer League. I went to Summer League to watch him, Obi, quickly, and all them. He really struggled against Summer League guys trying to create his own shot and dribble past the free throw line. So I don't really know if he has that in him. Maybe we can develop that, but for right now, he's a very good 3-and-D guy, and that's good. I like that. He plug and play. He can have a long career based just on that. Anything else he can give us, if he develops that shot creation ability, if he can develop that, that's just gravy on top, and that would be great. McBride is kind of hard to say because it's kind of the same thing. He hasn't really gotten many minutes to play, but in the ones he has, he kind of looks more like that Pat Beverly type of point guard. He's not really the guy you want with the ball in your hands, but he's a very good defender, and hopefully he can get his 3-point shooting down. If he does that, he'll be a rotation player in the NBA. The other main thing I wanted to talk about was, I guess, the big news that we acquired Cam Reddish from the Hawks. So I have some mixed opinions on this, right? Because Reddish, I would rather have him on the team than Knox, because we have one more year of team control with Reddish than Knox. But on the other hand, if we're not going to play him, why did we send a first-round pick for him? Right? And I get, the first-round pick is very protected. It's really not worth much, let's be honest. But I don't see why we traded for Cam Reddish, right? When we already have a glut of wing players. Like, Kevin Knox was out of the rotation. He did not play for us. He was stuck behind RJ, behind Evan, behind Fournier, behind Burks, and all these guys. So then you add Cam Reddish in there, who wants to be a star. Cam Reddish wants to play. And he's stuck at the end of the bench. And, that's not even getting into, we're not even fully healthy, and he's stuck on the end of the bench. Derrick Rose is still injured, right? So we have Kemba starting, and quickly coming off the bench as backup point guard. But once Rose gets back, he's going to be backup point guard. Quick's going to shift down to backup shooting guard. Burks is going to shift down again. So I just don't see where he's going to get any minutes from. Because once Rose gets back, assuming that Kemba stays healthy, Grimes is going to be out of the rotation too. So I don't see what the point of this is, unless we're making another move. That's the only thing I can think of that the front office is going to do, because otherwise, we don't have any minutes. And that's not because the guys in front of Cam are so good. They're really not. Like, even RJ, I love RJ, he deserves minutes because he's developing. Those are developmental minutes, more than him being a positive contributor, even though he is becoming more and more of a positive contributor. So we've filled the roster, and I said this at the start of the year. We filled the roster with a bunch of guys who are just okay. Guys who are all looking at every other one. Because that's the other thing too. They're all looking at each other going, yeah, he's not that good. I should be playing ahead of him. So now you're just kind of creating problems for yourself. I just don't, like I keep saying, I don't see the point. I don't know why we went out and traded for Cam Reddish when we did. The only thing that will fix it at this point is if there's another move coming. So hopefully, bundle a bunch of these, B and C tier players together to get, a B plus player. I don't exactly know what that's going to look like. I've seen some people who want Ben Simmons. I'm not the biggest fan of that. There are some other names out there. Dame is out of the running right now because he's injured and really wasn't that good when he played. So we'll see what they do. Hopefully they made this move as a precursor to another move. And I know it's looking way ahead. A lot of people have the idea that this move was made to bring Zion in. Potentially, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. A lot can change in a really short time. I would absolutely take the gamble on Zion. I know that he is really injured. He has not stayed healthy in the slightest. But when he plays, he is a game-breaking talent. You don't score that efficiently without being amazing on that big of volume. I would take the risk there. It's just about, I don't know, what we would have to give up. But to me, the move that they kind of should be making is trying to trade Randall. And I know that some people aren't gonna like that. Some people are gonna really love it. But I understand Randall was, our guy. Most improved, all this, all that. He's really regressed, and I think you're starting to see this is what Randall is. Last year is looking more and more like a fluke. Hopefully, if we don't trade him, he gets back to that point. But I'm not really optimistic about that right now. I saw there was some chatter. Some guy who supposedly has sources says that as part of a bigger trade, the Knicks will be sending out Randall and getting back Robert Covington and someone else I forget. That not much return. It's basically proposing just dumping Randall for his salary. I don't know how I feel about that. I think, despite all the negatives, we would be a worse team without Randall. He is not a number one option, but he's the closest thing we have. And if you want us to tank, then yes, you would love that move. I'm not so sure that we can tank at this point. So, with all that said, where do we go from here? Well, here's a fun fact, because I gotta throw in a fun fact every time. We are 23-25 right now. Last year, 48 games in, we were 24-24. Now, I don't know if you remember, but really, we were a 500 team the entire year until we went on one 9-game win streak. And we finished, I forget the exact number, it was something like 16-6 or something. So really, we were a mediocre team that just went on a really good run towards the end of the year. If you're Leon Rose and James Dolan, that's what you're hoping happens. That we're just a mediocre team who is going to hit a hot streak. That could happen, obviously. It's sports. Stuff like that just happens out of nowhere. Or it could be like back in the Jeff Hornacek days, and we would be something like 23-26, and then the wheels would fall off when we'd end the season with 32 wins. It could go either way, or it could be split in the middle. We end with, a 38-44 record. At this point, it's really hard to say what way it's going to go. As someone who really enjoyed last season, I hope that we catch fire again, but it's not very late. So, what it's really looking like is we're going to have a mediocre year this year, and then we're starting to build, not build for the future, because we're not building through our young players and draft picks. We're going to try and swing for a big star in the offseason. That's about all we can do at this point. And that's about all I can say. I've run out of stuff to talk about for now because this is actually going on for a bit longer than I expected. But we'll see if this stays a thing. If instead of getting a live stream right after the game, you guys might get the next day Kyle's thoughts on the game. I just want to get something up there. We're not dead. At least I'm not. I can't speak for the rest of the Blood No Foul, but we'll see what's going on in the future. But in the meantime, I've been Kyle. This is, I guess, the first episode of, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I'll see you guys next time.
Till we run that clock out. MSG Mecca, our house. NYC forever, mob out. Kiff trip, Clyde Clout.